Wizard of Oz. And here he is, the Wizard of Wiz, if ever a Wiz there was. If ever, oh, ever a Wiz there was, the Wizard of Oz is one because of the wonderful things he does.
Hello everyone, g'day. It's the Apostate of Oz, and Dorothy's here with me. She's in flying form today. Might even say some more words. Up, up. Go on. Right, the point of this book review is, I'll try and get it clear, Jehovah's Witnesses and the United Nations by Tami, Dickerson. Now I'll put the ISBN number in the footnote so you can look that up. I got that off Amazon. Very reasonably priced book, and one that we'll see is worth the read. Now, the whole subject about the Jehovah's Witnesses being a member of the United Nations is, I think, hugely embarrassing to the Watchtower Society, considering all those years, how much they've condemned our studies of the Revelation book, if you remember when you were, or are a Jehovah's Witness, or when you were, how much condemnation was directed towards the United Nations. So, yeah, is it justified that they were a member, which they were? They'll try and deny or downplay it. But in this book, Tami's put together all the information that was publicly available you could get from the United Nations, and that the Watchtower Society, through their news section, put out in response to these. And it's quite revealing. It's a good buy because it's information, yes, you can get off the net, but it's good that it's in one source as a book and puts it all together. So when the Watchtower was exposed by that article in the Guardian newspaper that they were a member of a non-governmental member of the United Nations, personally I was pretty horrified. I thought, nah, yeah, that couldn't be true, because, you know, we were taught that that's the, you know, the visible organization of Satan the devil, and, you know, the main thing opposed to God's organization. So for them to be a member was not really believable, but it's true. Now, what in response to that Guardian newspaper, the Watchtower Society obviously withdrew its membership and made many excuses. Now this book goes through what those excuses were. Wow, that's right, Dorothy, it's a load of codswallop. They said that it was purely to have access to the United Nations library resources. Well, with all the publicity of it, there was many press releases put out by the United Nations, who initially said no to use the public research library of any of the United Nations facilities. The only criteria is that you have to be a citizen of the Earth. It's available freely to any person. The only one that has a slight restriction is the research library that's in the actual United Nations building, and that's really only because of the diplomatic officers and ones. There's nothing held in there that's any different to the other research libraries. And as this book shows, that in New York there's 3 other United Nations public libraries available. So the excuse was to get in there to use the library. Well, no, there was, as the book goes through and you read, there was ulterior motive, which, surprise, the Watchtower Society would have, to get their nose in the door onto committees and different things. But Tami's done a good job of it. She's put together the correspondence that went back and forth. Really? Oh, that's true. I agree. And it shows that the Watchtower's motives were more than just using the library. They were trying to find out things that were going on. They were getting privileges as a non-government organisation. So there was some financial gain as well as prestige in their eyes. But the disturbing point, if you like, if you're looking from an active Jehovah's Witness side, is that in the period that they were a non-government member, the tone of the articles was sounded more praiseworthy than not, but cleverly worded to for someone who wasn't a Jehovah's Witness could read it. They would think, oh yeah, that's good. That's, you know, supporting the United Nations. But in actual fact, as you know, the Watchtower Society usually is sly, puts double meanings in, and that any Jehovah's Witness reading it would go, oh yeah, you know, that's basically condemning the United Nations. But anyway, the book's very good. This is a subject. Not long after I'd been disfellowshipped, I had the opportunity to go to my parents' house, and I sort of talked to my parents, raised as Jehovah's Witnesses from the 1940s, and I said, Mum, what's the view of the United Nations? And she basically said the exact line that we all know, or were taught to know. And I said, Mum, would you believe that the Watchtower Society was a member, a non-government organisation member? And Mum was like, no, couldn't be. But I'd printed out all these transcripts and letters and things, and they're all contained here in the back of the book for your reference, and to show, and the places to get these from, because they're all on the public record. And my mum was horrified. She was like, oh, oh, but then they must have had a reason. I was like, yeah, well, they did say that, but this is why. And she's like, oh, well, got to trust in Jehovah. Well, yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Doesn't make sense, does it, Dorothy? But anyway, so which is the view of a lot of them, don't believe it, but at least this book puts it all together in one source, and not an expensive book, and it's definitely well worth keeping on the shelf, because that's irrefutable to a Jehovah's Witness who's looking outside the square, looking outside the box, that this would be a great book, because it has been a stumbling block for a lot to realise that they are trapped in a religion that's a cult that will do whatever, anything that will further its finances, its prestige, and to get its influence into in Europe. But there's a lot to read in it. It's not a huge book, but there's some very interesting points. It's all referenced and supported, so it's not just the ideas of Tami Dickerson. She's supported everything that she has put here with evidence and references to all the watchtowers and the wakes that are cited throughout. So I recommend to you Jehovah's Witnesses and the United Nations, How the Watchtower Society Fooled Millions. It's a good read, and I'd recommend it to all of you to have a look at. All right, Dorothy. Well, thanks for adding your 2 bits worth in, and yeah, that's what she says. All right. Well, we'll say goodbye now, and we might see everyone. We'll do a Christmas special. She had her first photo with Santa today. Very proud of it. Didn't cry, smiled, did all the good things. All right, Dorothy, we'll say goodbye to everyone now. So goodbye from me, goodbye from Dorothy. Catch you later. Bye.
I regret to announce this is the end. I'm going now. I bid you all a very fond farewell.